We'll just give everybody a second to find their seats. Let's give everyone just a minute. Helen, Björn, where are you guys calling in from today?
Hey, good afternoon. I'm calling in from Heidelberg in Germany.
Björn, whereabouts are you calling in from?
From Wiesbaden in Germany as well.
Wiesbaden in Germany. Very nice, very nice. How are things in Germany at the moment? Is it as grey and miserable as I'm looking out here in beautiful Vienna at the moment, or how is it in Germany?
Nope, sun is shining in southern
Oh,
Germany as
come
per
on,
usual.
Yeah,
come on.
In Wiesbaden too. Yeah, sunny. Yeah, like
Unacceptable.
spring. Yeah.
Unacceptable. I'm not going to accept that. That's
Well,
awful.
don't take the Irish weather to Austria. They don't appreciate it.
I know. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. Okay, well, hey, look, let's get started just in the interest of time. So, guys, really excited to have you both on today. So let me just welcome our guests, Helen Burbank and Björn Tumla, both from Springer Nature. Helen is the Director of Marketing Effectiveness and Strategic Products, and or projects, sorry, and Björn is the Senior Manager of Applications and Processes. Today, we're going to be looking at how Springer Nature uses MRM to increase marketing effectiveness and create transparency and collaborative marketing. They're going to get into why they chose an MRM or a marketing resource management platform, what marketing resource management means to them, some of the change management pieces that they needed to go through in order to get a large team involved in a marketing resource management tool. And yeah, with that, I will let you guys take over from here. If anybody has any questions throughout, please just feel free to use the chat. I'll be keeping an eye on chat throughout, and please feel free to stop us at any time. Cheers.
Fabulous. Thanks so much, Andy, and thanks for the invitation. So good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world to everybody. Gonna jump right into it. So our agenda today is we'll give you a quick intro to Springer Nature, which I think is a solid background as to our project as a whole. Walk you through our challenge, what we were looking to solve, how it is that we structured the search to solve for that challenge. Before I hand over to Björn, who will speak a little bit more in depth as to how it is that we took that idea and implemented it into our organization, and what that means in terms of day-to-day management and use. So rolling a little bit. Speaking to Springer Nature is, we're a global academic publisher. We operate across 3 different divisions, which accumulate in a multitude of different products for many, many different audiences. So within our research division, which is the primary use case that we'll speak to today, here we're speaking around 3,000 academic journals, 15,000 books that we publish a year, author and discovery solutions to help our authors and related audiences to use both our services, but also to work more proficiently in that research environment, as well as a big slice of the healthcare world. Our education and professional divisions do similar things in different markets. We are quite a global company, and thus our challenges are also very global in nature. We've got about 10,000 people across the globe, and that's reflected, and as we'll see in a second, within our marketing organization. Springer Nature as a brand has only been around for about 5-6 years at this point, but many of our imprint brands should be recognized by people in the market. So Springer, particularly Springer Nature, have been around for over 150 years apiece, together with many of our markets in the German speaking area. But what does that mean? What does that mean from a marketing perspective, which is, I'm sure, the most more interesting element of this. So as Andy said, I'm the Director of Marketing Effectiveness and Strategic Projects, and I do that within what we call our Research Marketing division. So that is one very big team. We're about 300 colleagues sitting in 20 locations worldwide. Some of those locations have 50, 60, 70 people. Others just have maybe 1 or 2. So it's quite a diverse landscape across the team. with that though, we have one shared vision, and that shared vision is across our Aspire Nature environment to help advance the digital transformation through radical customer focus, backed by data and of course the technologies that we use to help serve those customers. We build and sustain connections with our research communities, both to win new authors as well as to keep them with us. And we drive our revenue goals through both B2B and B2C product lines and business models, spread out across academic institutions, different corporate verticals, government and policymakers, as well as those individual researchers and authors. As with many modern marketing teams, this comes backed by a number of different specialists. So we've got individual specialists in pretty much every marketing specialty you can think about, whether that's marketing strategy, SEO, SEA, social media, account development, marketing tech product owners, email marketing, and so on and so forth. In order to engage kind of across those specialties as well as our different markets, we need to focus on how it is that we can bring those two elements together and deliver our marketing, frankly, in an effective manner. And so that means taking things from concept to delivery smoothly, quickly, and also transparently. So that's the best segue into kind of the challenge that we face in this environment. So as I said, we've got a large decentral marketing team, and this marketing team has been kind of created, recreated, and remerged through different restructuring initiatives, as well as mergers of companies and entities over the years. To take you back to the heart of this challenge, I suppose we need to rewind about 2 years, at the point at which we were just finishing up one of these reorganizations that brought 11 different marketing teams together into a new structural delivery method. And each of those 11 organizations brought with them kind of elements of their own tech stacks, their own ways of working, their own processes that in some ways overlapped, and in other ways they certainly didn't. And in order to really get to the heart of the benefits that this new organizational structure could bring for us, we really needed to kind of attack the issue at its core, and that core is the ways of working and the technologies that we use to support them. It sounds simple, but there's certainly a lot of people with a lot of opinions, and there were lots of different challenges within this that people wanted to tackle. And so we needed to, there were a number of false starts, I'm not going to lie, where somebody came up and said, we need a project management tool. Somebody said, we need a new calendar. Somebody said, we need a new budget management process, or we need a different way to brief design requests from one team to another. And initially, a lot of people tried to approach each of those individually, until we frankly had to take a step back and say, okay, we've got a lot of challenges here, and we need to go into a little bit more depth in terms of the root cause. And we chose to do that by bringing all of those stakeholders together and doing some good old workshopping out of it. The slide screenshot that you see on the right is one of my favorite that I've probably ever created, because it really came to that core of what a lot of different people were trying to do within the scope of one project or non-project at that point. So as just mentioned, we decided, okay, we need to get some scope around this, and that scope had to take a single first step of figuring out where on earth are we right now. And where on earth are we right now across a multitude of different teams? And that's that very messy picture that you see on the bottom right, which is a cutout of a Miro board that we were using. This is an overview of a combination of processes, technologies, both kind of official technologies as well as, frankly, self-built kind kind of interesting mishmashes that the different teams were using in order to deliver on some of our kind of core needs around both campaign planning, campaign activity or the delivery, the reporting of marketing campaigns, and going through to the budget and reporting elements of that, which also had slightly different elements. So this kind of plays out in that simplistic mapping out of a MarTech ecosystem. It seems pretty basic, and when you get the right people together and you put your mind to it, you'll find that it's not that difficult, but the result that you might come to may or may not shock you depending on where you started. And particularly if you are coming from that background of any kind of mergers, restructuring, or otherwise. So this was kind of the reality check that we needed in order to help us and help our stakeholders understand kind of what was the actual problem that we were trying to solve. How many of these pieces did we want to tackle in one go, and how did we want to cut that up? That wasn't all though, because technology is one side of any discussion. The other side is frankly the humans, the people who are working together in order to deliver on shared objectives. And collaboration is an incredibly important part of this story, and it was certainly a topic that we wanted to foster across the teams. That being said, collaboration is a word, and words come with interpretations, particularly across many different cultures and different teams. And so in the similar way that we did on the last slide, instead of assuming, we went and we asked the teams what collaboration meant to them. We asked them what good collaboration looked like, and we asked them what bad collaboration looked like and what they felt was hurting and harming them. And we used this to help us could bring the team together and understand what not only the functional elements that we were looking for in a solution, but also kind of that softer side, and understanding what we also needed to be able to do in order to help our teams work better together. So after we did an awful lot of groundwork, which looking back with hindsight was an incredibly important part of the process, and certainly helped us get where it is that we are now, we kind of dug in. We had to take all of those pieces and come up with a scope, frankly, in terms of what it is that we were actually trying to deliver. And what our ideal looked like. So before you go and speak to a bunch of vendors about what it is that their ideal or what their solution delivers, being really clear in terms of what it is that you want to achieve certainly helps understand how different different vendors and different options are going to help you to achieve that. The visualization on the right, once again, these are a little cut and paste directly out of our Miro, so giving you a bit of a view into our thought process here. We determined our project WOW scope, our project ways of working. Everything inside the circle was in. Those were the things that we absolutely wanted to have as part of our new solution. Everything that's outside of the circle, we were happy to leave out for the time being. We were happy to say, okay, we're not touching this for now. Everything that was on that's kind of on the line, so to say, we recognized was going to interact in some way with the system, but wasn't necessarily going to be delivered by the system, so to say. And this helped us really concretely understand and communicate with stakeholders, particularly stakeholders who were sitting either on the outside or on the line of this, as to how it is that this big project and this big program was going to impact their work. On the basis of that, we also went into those functional capabilities, determined that we wanted to do all of our marketing program planning, so including being able to manage multiple projects. We wanted our resource management, including how it is that things were being planned and calendarized. We wanted the solution to help us with alerting and communications, and it needed to have some really robust reporting capabilities so that we can understand what it is that we're doing and communicate that and plan accordingly. Based on the size of our organization and the complexity of the data that we're working with, it also needed to be easy to use, have single flexible data entry so that we didn't have people putting essentially the same information into multiple forms in order to deliver one thing, which was a big challenge that we had previously on a kind of a one-to-one basis. Somebody would have to go to a designer and say, hey, designer, I need this. And then go to our colleagues in search engine marketing and say, okay, on the basis of this, I need this. And we only wanted people to be putting the same information in once. Because by doing that, we ensure that we have a single source of information, and we were enabling seamless movement of information between various different systems. So those who have been paying attention closely will have noticed that up until this point, I have not said MRM. Uh-oh, why is my camera jumping off? I'm not entirely certain. So I purposely we haven't mentioned MRM because up until this point, we didn't know we were looking for a marketing resource management system. We were far more concerned about the big challenges that we were facing on an internal level. And frankly, I'd never heard the term before, so I didn't know that I was supposed to look for one. As Andy happily told me a little bit earlier, that the term didn't really come into fashion until about 2 years ago. So we're going to go with we were just on the we were on the early end of this trend. It's a nice way of putting it. But either way, it turned out that when we got to this process, an MRM or marketing resource management was certainly the best descriptor in terms of what it is that we ended up looking for. And that's kind of the direction that we took. We did take a look at a longer list of market leading softwares before coming to a short list. It was an extensive process because, you know, with so many people involved and essentially such a big wish list, we wanted to make sure that we were getting it right. But what was also really important to us was that we were finding a partner. We wanted to find a partner who was going to help us define what our future good looked like, and not just hand us something and say figure it out. And so, unsurprisingly, I suppose, given that we're speaking from our mind today, that was our ultimate decision. And 2 years on, I think we're very happy with that decision because it did work out to be and continues to work out as a great partnership. We push them and they push us back, and the ultimate result has been so far really fabulous. But it's fabulous because we work together to define a shared vision. So off the back of that search process that we had, and off the decision that we came to, we needed to make sure that we translated that that need that was in those Miro boards previously into a shared vision together with Marmind. And I think everybody in our organization is so tired of seeing this blue box because it was so integral to how it is that we chose that we rolled this project forward, because it was shared. It was shared. The solution we wanted was going to drive our marketing project and campaign planning and execution with comprehensive reporting on the success tied to the strategic KPIs. We put this up front of every single presentation, I believe, Björn, that we delivered over a year.
Yep.
Every piece of communication, and it started every conversation with Marmind. We started with this to make sure that we were staying on track and on vision. It sounds a little bit overkill, but as anybody who's done comprehensive software implementations, making sure that everybody's on the same page at any given point is pretty key. And not surprisingly, this so far has been a massive success. And over the course of exactly 1 year, plus or minus a couple of days, we took ourselves from those workshops where we were defining what we were looking to do, the launch of Project WOW in the search process, the contracting of our vendor and the implementation, up until we launched the MVP. There were obviously an awful lot of steps in between there. And I'm going to hand over to my colleague Björn to talk through some of the nuances beyond that.
Thank you, Helen, and hello, everyone, and very welcome from my side. As already introduced, my name is Björn Tümmler, and I'm actually also the product owner of Marmite now here at Springer Nature. And following Helen's insights on our initial situation and decision-making process, let's dive into the implementation. I would now like to take you through our journey from inception to today usage within the context of being a large marketing organization with circa 300 colleagues. And along this way, I share our experiences, challenges, achievements, and also lessons we have learned. Next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah, after our decision, as you could see also in this slide before from Helen, and the kickoff in September 2022, we set ourselves a very ambitious goal to launch an executable MVP within just 4 months. And yeah, why we did this urgency stemmed from our imperative need to implement a system for the upcoming marketing financial year, while parallel also phasing out legacy systems means no alternatives left. And the challenge lay in the comprehensive development and integration required for several key components. Once, integrating a financial structure, designing campaign workflows, structuring and migrating data of existing campaigns, and in addition, defining and assigning user roles, and according to this, also setting up permissions. Definitely no exaggeration to describe this as an ambitious project. And let's moving on how we dealt with this situation. Next slide, thank you. Our approach involved forming specialized work groups focused on key areas like finance, operations, and planning. And this group consisted of experts not only from our side, Springer Nature, also from our partners, in this case, Marmite and Adesso. And regular deep dive sessions were essential in offering an opportunity for detailed discussions and exploration and ensuring mutual understanding across all these areas. And real use cases played a crucial role in our approach, because by analyzing our current processes or previous processes, requirements, pain points, we gained valuable insights that guided us our decisions. This not only facilitated understanding for Marmite or our vendor, but also enabled us to adjust our structure and processes, maximizing the use of the tool we have selected. And here we were mindful of the group dynamics, keeping teams relatively small with 5 to 8 members, comprising specialists from relevant departments, and the structure allowed then effective collaboration and also decision-making processes. And we empowered these groups by providing them with necessary time resources. This is very important, and decision power to drive progress independently. To ensure progress during the implementation, it was really crucial to distribute these responsibilities and plan adequate resources within the short time frame. How we did realize it. Next slide. I would say regardless of the system you choose, it becomes essential at the beginning as a base for everything else to establish and to think about your structure according to the selected system, which in our case also defined the fundamental basis for subsequent work processes and also the financial planning. On the right, you see our navigation tree, which is like a map of our marketing organization. At the top are the key areas, so-called workspaces, which represents our different business areas and target groups. The next level campaigns are then assigned to these workspaces accordingly. Following this, our marketing channels like paid social, SEA, or email are allocated as part of the campaign. Finally, at the lowest stage, we have the respective activities or platforms, such as Facebook, for example, within paid social. And additionally, budget and costs are divided and managed along this hierarchical structure, cascading down through the workspace tree. The navigation tree serves as a foundation for navigating and managing the individual objects with permissions assigned to define who can perform specific actions. And one important takeaway is really to embrace the concept of the tool. Introducing an MRM system, I would say, represents a significant change in the organization. So understanding the tool's concept is crucial. Realigning your current structure with the system is essential to maximize its benefits. While on the one hand, the system should support your structure and map your needs for sure, but forcing your current processes directly one-to-one into the tool is probably the biggest mistake you can make. Because this approach limits the tool potential and neglects valuable opportunities. At the end, it results only in excessive customization, leading to inflexibility and scalability limits. Therefore, as we had also to learn, be open-minded and adaptable for changing your structure in line with the tool's idea. Next slide to jump in how we integrated our workflow, because once the structure had been defined, our next step was to map the workflow, covering an end-to-end campaign process. What proved here to be extremely beneficial was our approach of creating personas and outlining the individual work steps of these personas using flowcharts in Miro to scribble and to map this. And we mapped the campaign process from planning over content creation, channel development, up to the campaign launch, including the role-specific tasks and competencies. This enables MarMind to understand our processes and to set them up then also in the system, more concrete, as you can see here on the right side, in the workflow designer, streamlining sequences in the systems. On the left, you can see the question that needed to be answered for the visualization. And we learned that drawing out workflows with these personas makes it definitely much more transparent for everyone, for the vendor, but also for yourself. And I think this was really quite helpful, and for us also a game changer to get more transparency. Okay, next slide. After doing this, I want to share with you how we have used MarMind as a modular functional system. To go back, as Helen explained before, we have managed our work through a number of individual tools that didn't talk to each other. And that's why we are looking also for a solution that could centralize campaign management, finance, asset management, and very important also communication processes in a single central place. And choosing a modular system was really crucial for us and became also as a key selection factor, as we needed to reduce the number of individual systems. And I want only briefly explain how we utilize this with the modular modules in MarMind, starting by the planning module. This helped us to utilize intelligent workflows with briefing forms to enable a streamlined end-to-end campaign and channel management, including capturing metadata with conditional logics in these forms, and enable us also in the plan view in a kind of Gantt chart to monitor the progress through the process. By using the to-do functionality, we could organize our task with different views like Kanban or list views. In our case, it helped us, for example, to organize design requests in a very efficient way. Costs, for us, an essential functionality to have dedicated budget, cost, and forecast functionality with live data reports to show always the financial metrics to this internal stakeholders. And with assets, we are using also here design asset workflows, including in a very structured review and approval process within the functionality setup. Here we are using also a specific asset workflow. And very, very important, a centralized communication. Centralizing the exchange of information across various marketing areas with one tool enhances collaboration and communication much more efficient. And this is facilitated through personalized inline and email notifications, within and out of the system, triggered within comment areas of the respective objects like campaigns or channels. Means this was really very important for us to bring the things together, as I mentioned also before. And I think we did it, and this is quite helpful. But after the implementation phase, I want to share with you now how we transitioned to a regular use and established an ongoing development process. Next slide. As already mentioned, we initially started with an MVP, minimum viable product, but this MVP already changed a lot for us and our colleagues, leaving Google Sheets and other legacy systems behind, and the direct start of the new campaign organization in a new environment is a big change process. And it requires a level of support that should be, very honestly, not to be underestimated, at least in the early weeks, in order to get people on board. And we did it really with a lot of resources, with trainings, open house sessions, FAQ, evolving super users, of course, also creating guides. But also by this, of course, the tool is not completely finished and fully functional even after the rollout. And here we have adopted an agile approach to product development, where we iterate on the product in regular cycles and involve users also by allowing them to share their needs formulated in user stories with us, which we also transfer then to Marmind. And this goes to a product backlog, and from there to development sprints based on priority and benefit and cost ratio. And this is an ongoing process. We always refine here and see what we can improve. But important, involving users helps to build a sense of community and collaboration between users and development team, which can lead to a stronger and more loyal user base. And another important lesson learned here, you cannot plan everything in advance. Approaches to product improvement only emerge through experience and the daily use. You cannot see everything if you don't have it in use. And also don't try to make everything possible straight away. Avoid too much complexity. It only makes your life more difficult. I can say this from your own experience, because we are also actually currently in a process of reducing complexity again a bit, which, to be honest, is a bit more challenging than starting simple and then adding things step by step. But this is how it looks, and I think really to be agile helps us also to improve the system in an ongoing way. Jumping to the last slide, actually. Thank you. Which shows a feedback cloud on the right. I think it was after the first 2 months of use. And I think the following can be summarized. The challenge of bundling marketing activities with the centralization of planning, content creation, budgeting, and channel management in one tool with a centralized communication as well has been met and could be achieved in a short window of time, of course, with the appropriate resources. Means it is possible. Of course, also it was very helpful to have this strong collaboration with Marmind and Adesso here. And we have actually now over 2,500 campaigns launched since we started, including all the metadata, product information, information about channels, design assets, and of course also all the financial data, everything in one place. Definitely for us a big milestone and achievement. On the left, you see again in the summary the key learnings I shared already through the process. But I want to share with you, it is a process which will not end after the initial release. Actually, product development becomes really productive by learning when you understand everything better in your daily use of the system and know how to sort it. And yeah, while the journey is not yet complete, we remain committed to following the vision we shared. And we have set ourselves, and yeah, we want to further streamline our processes in order to bring campaigns to the market even faster. We also want to make better use of the KPI functionality to gain insights into whether we are on the right track with our activities. Means we still have plans. Yeah, it's not everything as we wanted, but we have already achieved a lot. And also there will be challenges along the way. We believe that by staying true to our vision and continuing to work focused with high agility, the use of the MRM system will help us to be more efficient and transparent. And I think, yeah, that's it from our side. Few insights into our introduction of the MRM. And maybe you can, yeah, take 1 or 2 points with you and adapt if you have similar plans. And yeah, I think then we are here to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, guys. That was really interesting. Thank you both. That was it was really, really good. I've got a couple of questions just to start off with. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to throw them into the chat. There's a, as you can see, there's a little chat button there. If you click there, and please enter any questions that you may have for the guys, they'd be more than happy to answer. Just from my side, you mentioned around there's 300 people in the marketing org, right? That needed to be onboarded, that need to be bought in, or you can stop sharing your screen, by the way, Helen. I think that might be easier to get everyone. There we go. And that's a big change management piece, right? Björn, I think you just touched on it there at the end, right? But like people hate change generally, right? And 300 people wanting to change something, that's like a mammoth of a task, in my opinion. Like, where do you, like, I often use the expression with the team, like the best way to eat an elephant is piece by piece. But how do you do that with so many people, and how do you get everybody on the same page and get everybody on board?
Yeah, I can start, and Björn will jump in as well. It started with I'm going to use this word again, shared vision. We went through an incredibly inclusive process of documenting the challenges. We're marketers, we're on the ground, we speak to our colleagues. We knew that people were struggling with the landscape as we had it. And we knew that there were lots of people trying to solve for it. But that created a little more chaos than help at the beginning. So by taking that inclusive approach to documenting the challenges and to be able to present them back to the team and validate them and speak to those needs, provided a really strong basis to be able to deliver a solution. And delivering any solution is going to be a change management initiative. But collaboration and transparency were at the core of everything that we were trying to do. And so we lived and breathed that through the project itself. And we communicated loudly, we communicated often, we communicated in a multitude of different forums. So with forums, I mean, beyond just email updates, there were kind of presentations to stakeholders at various levels. There were open house sessions that went on, felt like ages, but probably the most useful pieces. Essentially, we had ask me anything questions until people stopped showing up, because that gave people the confidence, not only in the onboarding phase, but also, as Björn said, you don't really know a system until you start using a system. And so as people started to go through the process of delivering their campaigns start to finish, they encountered different different challenges. And as they kind of did that in a staggered manner, we made sure that the team, the support team, was there, essentially holding their hands the whole way. And I'm super, super grateful to Björn and the whole team for doing that, because it was a massive team effort.
I think you covered nearly everything, Helen. I only can to add, be open and transparent. Yeah, I think this is the key, really. Offer the support it needs. But I think it's also really important to let your users know it's not a problem if not everything works at the beginning. Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, and at the end, I think it's only important that you see the benefit in comparison to this what you did before. You know, also if not everything is 200% perfect, you should at least see, and you should always point out and underline the benefit and the advantages to the previous situation, and then I think you will also get the user acceptance. Yeah.
I agree with that. I think there's always going to be, going back to the adage of no pain, no gain, you know, I think there's always going to be a bit of pain, right? Regardless of the outcome is going to be better at the end for sure.
Yeah.
But there's no way, like if you're changing, if you're re-platforming, if you're going to any technology from an existing technology, and whether or not that existing technology is awful or not fit for purpose or whatever, people are using it in a certain way.
Yeah.
And you're having to change how people work, basically, right? And people are used to a certain way of doing things. And once you start to point people in a different direction, you take them on a journey. And I could see that you guys have taken them really on a journey here, but by over communication and, as you said there, Helen, these ask me anything sessions until people didn't show up, and really overdoing it from a comms perspective. But like there can't be too much comms, right?
And in a project like this, definitely not. You know, one other thing that just kind of popped into my brain on that was also the role-based communication. So particularly, you know, different functions and different specialists in our organization use Marmind in very different ways. They've got different entry points, they've got different collaboration points, and they've got very different needs. And so instead of doing out of a one-size-fits-all, you know, to the testament once again to the team, they took very much a role-based approach to that. There are user guides for particular roles that focus on those needs. There are user guides for those roles for particular use cases, and supporting individuals in their roles made that fall a little bit, made it easier in my opinion.
Yeah, they felt as though they were being supported. I guess that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
You have a different level of intensity of the different roles, of course, and how to use it. But it was really helpful for us to have this centralized communication, because we didn't have it before. Yeah, and everyone liked it. Yeah, okay, now the things are connected. Great. Yeah, and this was, of course, also very helpful for us to get acceptance. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can well imagine, and with such a large team as well, that's hard, but like you guys have managed, so well done there. That's awesome. You mentioned before as well, like coming to the realization of getting an MRM, right? And Helen, you mentioned before that you didn't even, MRM wasn't even a twinkle in your eye, you know. It won't, like, it's not, so to MRM, for like I know I've been working with Marmind now for a number of years, and even when I first started working with Marmind in 2021, MRM was really a not so known technology, or at least that category, let's call it a category, marketing resource management, was not really known. And now in the past couple of years, it has exploded, right? But how did you then at that point in time, when you seen all of the needs that you had, right? And you seen, okay, we have all of these problems that need to be solved from all of these different teams. Okay, marketing resource management is the fit. How did you come to the light bulb MRM is the way to go?
Well, I mean, frankly, there were kind of two ways to go. It was either going with kind of, we'll call it generic, for lack of a better word, workflow software, which was going to cover the largest swath. A lot of them are connected to things like relational databases and have automation workflows on the back of them. So you've got your Workfronts of the world, or you try and go for something that's marketing specific. And those were kind of, as we were going through our search process, those were kind of the two camps that were coming out. Do we go for something, generic that was going to need, frankly, a lot of customization? Would we have been able to get to the same result eventually? Possibly. But kind of going back to, we were looking for a partner, and part of a partner is understanding the world that we work in, and the world that we work in is marketing. And so the benefit that started to emerge in the marketing resource management was also the subject level expertise that came with that, and the ability to essentially lean on the vendor, on Marmind's existing customer base, and other challenges of other marketing teams, and knowing that you're there to solve marketing challenges. There's a lot of value in that, especially if you want to be, as we did, quite open in figuring out what the best looking future was for us. We didn't want to stick with what we had. We knew that. But if you don't want to do what you're doing now, the world of what else you could do starts to get very big very fast. So that's how we kind of ended up in that corner. And then as we were exploring kind of the emerging MRM landscape, you see most companies that are in this space, they also didn't start there because it wasn't a thing. And then it was looking at kind of where did they start, and how did they kind of expand their business to meet the multitude of needs that we were looking for, which was this combination of project management, campaign management, calendarization, budget management, and reporting, which are kind of the cornerstones of modern marketing. If you want to talk about how do we become more effective and also prove that to the rest of not only our business, but also to ourselves, is being able to centralize a lot of that information. And you've got people like Marmind, that is literally the menu on the left-hand side of the Marmind interface. So
there you go. Yeah, that was going to lead me to my next question. It was like you showed a slide there that had a few other MRM brands on there that I've never heard of, clearly.
yeah.
But what made you guys, that was there like a certain something that made Marmind stand out against the others that you had in there?
I mean, I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking, probably because I was quite involved in the search and decision process. But kind of leaning back to, it's a two-part thing. It's a functional fit, but it's also kind of the trust, for lack of a better word, that the person the company that you're working with is going to be a partner, and not a dictator or an absentee kind of existence. Not naming any names with other vendors there, but it was really important for us because we were in this discovery phase and we wanted to be open, that we need a sparring partner. And the contacts that we had through that process with Marmind gave us that, they gave us the warm and happy feeling that we weren't just going to be a number, but rather we were going to, we were going to have people to talk to, and that certainly played out over the last 2 years.
Yeah,
right.
This was actually really, I think, the key then at the end, that we simply had the feeling that Marmind understood us best, by sharing our needs, because if you only look for the, let's say, the functionality, you are not sure yet, but if it comes then to the first conversation, I think then you will see better, it becomes more transparent if this could fit to your need or not, and I think here you did it good,
Thank you. Björn, I've got a question for you, actually, because now you're the product owner internally, right, at Springer Nature. So, and it's been a year now, correct? Like you're up and running a year, right?
Yes.
If you look back over that year, what would be some of the advice that you would give to another company that are implementing an MRM? Like, what are some of the things that you've learned throughout that year? Like, what would be a major piece of advice that you would give?
Definitely I think you should try to start simple. Yeah. If you make such a decision, it's a, as I shared also before, it's a complex and a major step. Yeah. But have really the courage also to have some gaps at the beginning. Yeah. Because you can add step by step. Yeah. Some functionalities, because if you try to do everything at the beginning in a perfect way, you will never come to a result. Yeah. So this was also learning from our side, definitely, that I think starting with simple approaches, yeah, to bring it to life helps a lot. And again, also to visualize as much as possible. Yeah. Because I think a lot of other companies struggle with this, that you sometimes also don't know internally exactly in which direction you want to go. Then it becomes also very complicated for the vendor, yeah, to understand, yeah, what you want. And then I think it helps really to work with these personas, as I mentioned, with the roles, to say, okay, what is the typical task along the way? Yeah, what this persona has to do, and along the campaign process. And then I think it becomes more transparent, and this helps then also to build up everything else like structure, workflows, and so on.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. And hey guys, I don't have any more questions on my side, so I just want to say thank you both for your time. This has been really, really interesting. It's been really great. And yeah, we'll look forward to having you on again at some point in the future. Much appreciated. And thanks for everyone for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.